So this is 5 years of brutally honest trading advice. Now, some of these lessons were big wake-up calls to myself. I didn't really realize that they were issues until someone really came through and actually just told me, like, look, this is what's going on, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to change. So hopefully this video can facilitate that for you, and you'll be able to come away from this as a changed trader, okay? So these are the 5 points I'm actually going to cover. I won't read these out this time. We'll actually just get straight into it. So the first one is you're addicted to gambling. So like it or not, the market is one big casino right now. My dad actually used to say this to me when I first started trading. And when he said it used to piss me off, right? But realistically, he wasn't lying, okay? All I was doing was going into the market, thinking I knew what I was doing without any sort of trade plan, rule set, parameters. Like, I was just going in thinking, yeah, cool, I'm going to make some money and I know where the market's going, right? But in reality, that is, in and of itself, gambling. Okay, there is no difference between you going to casino, rocking up with a slot machine, trying to make some sort of money, right? Now, this is where the key part comes in. So the market transfers money from the uneducated to the educated, right? Now, I had a mentor that said this just a little bit differently. He would say the market transfers money from the impatient to the patient. Okay, now, what is the educated or what is it that the educated know that the uneducated don't? Okay, and it's the reality that the market does operate as the house of the casino, and in the sense that when you are placing trades, when you are looking to execute on positions, right? I had this thing for a very long time. You think that you're in control of the outcome, and in reality, you're not. You don't know if your next trade is going to be a winner. You can do everything in your power to try and make it a winner, but you're always going to have that expectation of not knowing what the next move is, and that is directly related to, like, for example, poker, Jack Black, all these sort of games where you're essentially trying to. I mean, look, most people aren't doing this, but in trading, you're trying to skew the odds in your favor with an edge, okay, to be able to be profitable on a long string of trades. Okay, that's why, for example, we won't risk 100% on a position, because you don't know if your next trade is going to take your account balance to zero. Okay, so it all comes down to the expectations, and I think you have to really sit there and question yourself and ask yourself, what are your expectations in this game? Okay, do you think that you're just going to be able to come through and make like 10-20% every single month? Do you think that you're, like, how confident are you on your next trade? Do you really believe it's going to be a winner or a loser? Okay, you have to set, and I don't like this word at all, okay, I'm very against this ideology, but you have to set realistic examples and realistic expectations. Okay, you have to think about what your next move is and how you plan to execute on your given edge that you've essentially compiled together. Okay, so the other thing you need to think about as well is, who is your competition, right? And your other competition is basically every other market participant. Okay, is number one. And then from that, you need to go ahead and actually study human behavior. Now, I use this term, the market is essentially psychological warfare, and you'll see I mention that later on down the line. And the reason I say that is because there are so many people inside of this market, and if we can already deduce that 90%, 95% of the traders that come into this market fail, then we know the average person is doing every single thing wrong. Okay, and then we can actually go ahead, study that person's behavior, and then reverse engineer from that behavior. So moving on, the one who makes the most mistakes succeeds. Okay, this is a big thing again that I think a lot of men have issues with. I would have said that I'm not crazy bad at this, but the way I'll explain how I sort of get around this in a minute. But most people don't succeed in anything because they're too scared to fail, right? So congratulations to you. You are not one of these people. You've actually chosen to take on an endeavor that a lot of people fail at. Now, I don't like to say that trading's like one of those things where, you know, people say, oh, trading's like one of the hardest things in the world, blah, 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 blah. I don't like to say that, because there are a lot of other things in life and in the world that will be harder. But I think what makes it so difficult is it's just human nature, right? Our struggle to actually gracefully fail at something and understand that we can fail our way to success, if that makes sense. And also, I think a lot of the behaviors that we're brought up with, and also social media, right? Social media is a big one. I think there's such a false expectation and just expectation around how you're supposed to be performing as a profitable trader. Like, for example, having winning weeks, winning months all the time, smashing it all the time. I think there's such a poor expectation and stigma around trading. Most people are getting into trading because they think it's that. So when they get into it and they realize it's not that, they either just leave, or you become one of the ones who you adapt to what it is and you understand that it's completely different to your expectations, but you're actually fine with that. Okay, so overall, you need to actually change your definition of what it means to fail. Okay, every great in history has failed their way to success. If you think about the man who created the light bulb or any sort of medical advances, and therefore trading is actually no different to this. But I will say one thing about that, right? Don't take unnecessary failures. Okay, like if someone is ahead of you, and it doesn't mean they have to be at the end of the line. But if someone is that 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of you, right? Because they're going to know your position best because they've been there most recently, right? If you believe that person has been there and overcome the current challenges that you're facing, then it is wise to just take their advice and save yourself years of pain, right? So you have to take some sort of failure, and you have to take some you have to obviously take accountability for that failure, but you are going to have some sort of lessons that no one else is going to be able to teach you, because you have to sort of burn your own hand. But there are also lessons that you don't need to take because you can just listen to someone else do it, and again, just save yourself time of going in a loop all the time. Like, it would have really benefited me if someone was able to give me realistic expectations from the get-go and actually help me understand what trading was, right? Because the way I got introduced into trading was a guy would pull up a spreadsheet, right? And he'd say, look, if you started with £200 and you made 10% every week, then I can't remember the exact weeks, but it was like in 47 weeks or something like that, you'd be a millionaire, right? That's how I got introduced into trading, right? And you'd laugh at that now. 40% a month every month is hilarious, right? But that's how I got sold the idea of this industry. Like, that's what I got told was doable, and people were doing it apparently, which you all know is crap now. Okay, so a big thing here is you actually need to just destroy your ego and not, like I said, fall for the bullshit online. Okay, in this journey you will incur probably the most losses you've ever faced in your life, and that's just because you will face losing trades a lot. Okay, you will face a lot of backlash, and it's very important to not get yourself stuck in like a negative feedback loop of doing something wrong and then getting poor results, and then just keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again. Every human instinct goes against being a profitable trader. That's where the difficulty comes in, and that's where you need to rewire yourself. Okay, and again, like I mentioned before, this is psychological warfare. So next up is, where the fuck is your trading plan? Now, this is something I wish someone told me from the start, but how on earth does anyone here anticipate or expect themselves to get profitable without a plan? Okay, you've all heard of this famous quote, okay? Failing to plan is planning to fail. And you should build out a plan with a process that you can actually follow and duplicate every day. Okay, so trading is all about measuring yourself. I mean, any goal, any success measurement goal, let's just say the gym, for example. Okay, you go to the gym, you lift the weights. Okay, you track what you should be tracking your lifts every single day. You should be tracking what weight you lifted prior, so you know how to actually progress, right? You're going in with a system, you're going in with a plan. You're going to go and switch out your gym plan every 5 sessions or 2 sessions. You're going to follow a structured plan. You're going to look at what weights you lifted last time, so you can actually look to improve and get better the following time, right? And then you might do that with your diet as well. You might track all your calories. Make sure you're in a surplus so you can actually put the weight on, so you actually make progress, right? In the gym, you'll look at, let's say, the 3 areas you need to focus on, and then you'll go hard in those areas and actually track progress. That's how you make the most progress, through like habit tracking, for example. Okay, so in trading, there's no difference, right? It's exactly the same thing. Okay, now if you're not following a set plan and a process every day, then what on earth are you measuring every day? It's nothing. And this is where you'll see in my fifth point is you can do a lot of chart time. You can be thinking you're doing a lot, but in reality, the years are going to go by and you'll end up actually making no progress. And this is the reason why, because you actually need to have a built-out plan, a built-out process, something that you are, like I said, just doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay, and then from that, you'll be able to obtain your metrics, which you should know. And through that idea, you can end up logging, okay, your progress on a day-to-day basis, and then actually be able to evaluate that progress on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And that's how you'd actually track if you're actually getting any better at your or at trading in general. Okay, so your key thing here is to success in trading is actually evaluating how well you can stick to your trading plan. Okay, and therefore the quality of your trading plan is probably one of the most important factors in the trading sphere or in your trading progress in general. Okay, if you don't have a streamlined, clear trading plan that you're following day to day, then what on earth are you tracking, right? And yeah, quick plug for some of my stuff. I actually have made a course going over how to build a trading plan, which I'll talk about towards the end of the video. So before you actually incorporate anything into your trading plan, you actually need to follow a specific process funnel first, okay? So the first idea is to actually learn the concept. So let's just say that's Power of 3, for example. You then need to go ahead and backtest that concept. Can you see that in previous price data? Can you see that concept play out? Okay, because it's all well and good being able to listen to someone talk about a concept. If you can't see it in the chart yourself, it has no use to you. Okay, so then you actually need to forward test a concept. Now, what does that mean? That basically means you're going to take the concept and you're going to use it in the live markets. So you're going to go ahead, let's just say there's an order block, for example. You're going to draw out the order block and you're going to see if price ends up tapping it and reacting away from it. Okay, and then from that, you can actually start to understand which order blocks you need to use. Is it an order block that led to a displacement and with an FEG and blah, 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 etc., right? And then you're going to go ahead and add that concept into your trade plan. It isn't as simple as, oh, well, I watched Kyle's video on Power of 3 and now the Power of 3 is in my trade plan, right? You actually need to see if you can notice it in real time, if you can actually use it effectively, because the way I use Power of 3 might not be the same way you use Power of 3, and therefore you're not going to get the same results. Okay, now this is an extract from MyForex Fund. So this is a firm that went down. I can't remember when it went down. It's a while ago, right? Some of you might have not been around when this firm was about, but these results are actually published from 2021. So I assume a lot of you have never seen this before, but I remember seeing this when this firm initially came out. I think at the time it was just FTMO and MyForex Funds, and these numbers came out, and I remember this shocked me, right? I remember reading through this thinking, first of all, this helped me identify, like I said to you in the first point, about who my competition actually was. And then this actually enabled me to align myself with profitable traders and looking at basically what their habits were and sort of mirroring those habits. And what's actually quite funny is there was a lot of points in here that I didn't follow that now today I do follow. So over the course of time, I've actually ended up molding myself to a lot of these points inside of here unknowingly. Okay, so let's just start from the front. So what this basically is it's an analysis of a group of traders in a specific month, or not a group of traders, but basically everyone who bought a live account from this specific firm, and then how much they got paid out, what pair was the best to trade, blah, 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 right? So let's start from the top. So the new live accounts is irrelevant, right? We don't care about that. Total amount paid out, again, it's irrelevant. Most traded pair, gold, sort of irrelevant. Most profitable pair. Now, gold's interesting. I'll be real. I'm fairly surprised that that's the most profitable pair, because I'm pretty sure prop firms say now that a lot of people lose a lot of money on gold. It happened to be that the least profitable pair was GBJPY. Again, it's fairly aggressive, but again, not really that interesting. But here's where more of the key information is. So 10% of people passed phase 1. Okay, so that's basically 1 in 10. 24% of those traders who passed phase 1, okay, passed the second phase, right? And of those people who passed phase 2, only 3% of those people actually got to a real profit split. Now, initially, those are probably going to strike fear in a lot of people, but you shouldn't actually look at it that way. And the reason being is, when I read through some of these takeaways, I hope this is none of you, right? And I hope you're like me, but laughing at some of these points, right? And some of these points are basically the epitome of why majority of traders are failing and why the failure rate is so high. Okay, so number one, I remember reading this thinking, what on earth is going on, right? So over 60% of traders in our database do not use a stop loss. 60%, right? I hope that stat isn't that bad now. But there you go, right? They say 90% of traders fail, right? Well, you've got 60% not even using a stop loss, which is just insane. Okay? The traders who have made it to their 4th pay cycle all have a risk management strategy of below 3% risk on a given day. So a personal rule of mine, for example, here is if I take 2 losses in a day, I don't trade anymore. So I molded myself there. The profitable traders are in the market less than 4 hours a day. So that actually alludes to how long they're in a position for. They're probably not on the chart only 4 hours a day. I mean, they might be. But that's how long they're actually holding a trade for. It says the most profitable traders do not hold trades overnight, which again I've ended up adopting. A trader who holds trades over the weekend has a 60% chance of failing or losing their account. So that was quite interesting. That's potentially as well due to economic factors at the time. The market is being very volatile and whatnot. When the market is more volatile, more traders fail because of lack of risk management and discipline. If volatility is prolonged, it is a bloodbath of epic proportions. There are 5 traders who are on their 8th payout of evaluation live accounts. All of them trade conservatively. And make sure they get paid. None of them risk more than 2% per trading day. And they stop when they have reached their 4 to 8% in profit until the pay cycle has ended. All traders who've received record payouts have lost their account within 3 weeks of the record payout due to excessive risk. So that one's a huge one, okay? That should highlight how BS social media is, right? All these guys on the leaderboards and supposedly they're getting these like stupidly ridiculous payouts. That in and of itself should stop you there, right? Because I like to ask people, right? Are you in this for the long term? Are you looking to make a living out of this? Or are you just looking to gamble, right? If you're looking to gamble, then cool, go away, do your thing. But we're here to actually be in here for the long term, year after year, and actually making money in the market. So, like I said, right, that alone, right, when you now go to look at the leaderboards, if you're some sort of like leaderboard addict, yeah, you're just going on like the FTMO leaderboard and seeing how much money people have made, you can see it already. It's bullshit. There's no actual point of doing that, and that's not a real target to actually be aiming for. So next up, your ability to focus is your biggest problem. So all these issues that I've actually covered are all personal problems that I've actually faced, and things that, look, if someone just came up to me and was like, look, this is what you're doing, this is what you need to get rid of, it would have allowed me to have a lot more of a streamlined process, okay? So most traders are stuck for years because of shiny object syndrome, distractions, ego, and absorbing too much social media content. Okay, so shiny object syndrome is basically just jumping from strategy to strategy, looking at someone using what's that crap, CRT or some other bullshit, right? You need to just stick with one model, okay? Don't change from Silver Bullet to ICT Suns model to Unicorn to OSOC. Just focus on being a master of one and then building your strategy out from there, okay? And I know no one wants to do that. Everyone wants to be the guy being able to trade 5 different systems and this and that and having this 6 parts of their playbook and all this rubbish. Just be the guy who masters one principle, okay? Now there's some other stuff I actually haven't written here, but focus, right? Your actually ability to actually focus on the charts or your study is a big issue as well. We're in an era where short form content is basically like an epidemic. We're all just sort of addicted to watching crap short videos. We've all got ADHD. We don't have the ability to actually focus on one task, and that's a major issue as well. And it's weird because I feel like we're in a time where the opportunity is so high. Like if you look 30, 40 years ago, our parents' generation, they would have had certain wealth creation methods that were there, but just sort of unattainable because of maybe social relationships, because of money issues. But we have everything on a plate. But the problem with our generation, and I feel like it's almost done like this on purpose, where because of the internet, there's so much opportunity out there, but we've almost been dumbed down through all this short form content that you can't even focus on the long form content. You can't even read a book that a millionaire's printed out and invested 30 years of his life building. We can't even go on a shelf and read a 300-page book and being able to essentially utilize that information. Okay, so focusing, right, the ability to actually focus your attention on one specific task is, in my opinion, the key to success in any field. So my last point is actually a bit of I would say it's one of the hardest truths, and this truth would plague my mind a lot. Like the idea that I'd spent time thinking I was doing something but not actually getting anywhere really it upset me in a way. Like it really made me feel like I'd wasted time. And I'm someone who I hate being inefficient with things. Like I don't like the idea that I've spent an hour on something that should have taken 20 minutes, right? It really sort of aggravates me. So hopefully this point will open your eyes and make you understand that not all effort is equal. Okay, just because you've spent 1,000 hours on the charts doesn't really mean that you're going to get there or make the progress that you want. Okay, now unfortunately trading is one of those things where you can waste a lot of time thinking you're doing something productive when in actual fact you're making no progress at all. So you actually need to be process orientated. That's, I think, the main thing here. But to be process orientated, you actually need to think about what processes actually bridge you to become a better trader. What is it that you're going to practice day to day that is actually going to bridge that gap to be from being, like, let's say, a break-even trader to being profitable? And like I've written here, believe me, just staring at the charts is not one of them. Okay, so I spent a very long time staring at charts, inefficiently logging stuff, just putting stuff in like I used to log my stuff in the Telegram, right, and in journals. And now when I look back at those logs, I'm thinking like, what on earth was that? Like that wouldn't have really like pushed the boat and actually helped me progress. And now my logging process is completely different. It's very comprehensive. I have it all on Notion. Everything is well structured. There's obviously like the trade plan, the trade model, the playbook, the logging and journaling your trades. There's win rate. There's being on tilt, like analyzing your psychology. There's so many things that you need to think about. And what I would do after this is actually get a book, right, and write out each point that you believe that you should be focusing on, and to be able to bridge yourself to get the results that you actually want. Okay. Now, one piece that I gave away, and I'll link the video, but I gave away my personal daily report card, which was given to me by a previous mentor of mine. And inside of that, what I do is I basically just journal how well I stuck to my plan. Did I take any trades outside of my plan? How do I rank myself in that specific day? All of that good stuff, right? And like I said, I'll put a card here to link that video. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover inside this video, right? If you're interested in more material from me, I have a link down below. These are basically just the course contents of some of the courses that I outline. There's a lot more other stuff inside of there, but like how I spoke about previously, if you look at to the right here, I have a course around building your own trade plan, which is where I go through basically the key elements I believe that are necessary to build a effective trade plan. But like I said, if you're interested in that, then click the first link in the bio, and also just drop me a message. I'm pretty open to discussing different ways in how I can effectively improve your trading. whether that's me sending voice notes for free or whether you're interested in looking for a more intimate paid relationship. So anyways, yeah, that is everything I wanted to cover. Please drop a comment down if you actually got to the end of the video and tell me what you learned or any sort of lessons that you feel like you may have not known prior to this. Okay, but like I said, these are the lessons that I really feel like would have changed my trading, right? Everyone's looking for the technical analysis or the psychological hack that is really going to bridge your gap, but these expectations are really what do it, in my personal opinion. Okay, so anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you